Today, we'll be diving into the latest with Paige and her status, Roman Reigns, and Alexa Bliss's latest new teaser. Let's start things off with this Roman Reigns update. So as we know, Roman Reigns vs. Brock Lesnar is happening at WWE's first ever Day 1 event that takes place on January 1st. There's been some new changes to the WWE pay-per-view schedule. There was no December event this year. The usual December event was replaced with the new Day 1 event. And since this Day 1 event is technically a January event, it has pushed back the Royal Rumble into a slightly different time slot as well. But the main question that's going around is why WWE decided to use Brock Lesnar vs. Roman Reigns at Day 1, rather than saving it for the Royal Rumble card. Well, there's been a few new articles and reports that have been released lately that are discussing this situation. The reports claim that Brock Lesnar vs. Roman Reigns will not be happening at the Royal Rumble because that event is big enough to hold its own and doesn't really need the help of Brock and Roman. People are hyped up every year for the Royal Rumble without knowing a single match on the card. Fans are just excited for the Rumble matches itself. There's already a mystique there with that event, so it doesn't really need extra help. So that's why the reports claim WWE decided to use the big WWE Universal title match at Day 1 instead of Royal Rumble. Day 1 is a new event. It doesn't have a historic moment or matches since it's a new pay-per-view event. So in order to kick the event off on the right foot and make it feel special and valuable, WWE decided to put Roman vs. Brock on the Day 1 card. No matter how many times we see Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns face off, it's always going to be a main event, a must-see match, so that's the reasoning behind moving it from Royal Rumble to Day 1. Another reason why this match isn't happening at Royal Rumble could be because of the rumor that WWE wants to stretch the feud out into a series of matches. That's what keeps being said. So we know there'll be a series of matches, but we obviously don't know the results of those matches. Will Roman cheat every time against Brock Lesnar? Will Brock eventually win the title and then Roman wins it back? Those options are definitely all possibilities, so it's something to keep in the back of your head. Maybe Day 1 in Royal Rumble could end up extending this feud. We'll see how this story continues to unfold there. Another name that has popped up recently regarding your status is Paige. A lot of active and inactive superstars have lost their jobs with WWE over the last few years due to budget cuts. The biggest names from former world champions to brand new main roster talent, all gone from budget cuts. One inactive talent that has survived all of these waves of releases is Paige. Paige was signed to WWE and took over NXT in the main roster scene early in her career. She made a miracle recovery to return with absolution, but unfortunately went down with another extreme scary career-ending injury. Paige would later return to be the SmackDown GM and then manage Asuka and Kairi Sane. But for Paige's actual last WWE television appearance, you have to go all the way back to her first few shows of the pandemic era for WWE in early 2020. So almost 2 years since she was last used on TV, but thankfully, she's technically part of the company and is still signed. Observer also discussed this topic recently and speculated that they could still be holding on to Paige for special appearances and events, since she is still a very big name. And who knows? Maybe they can find another non-wrestling TV role to put her in down the line. So even with Paige no longer being able to wrestle, it's clear that WWE still sees a lot of value with Paige because they're not cutting ties with her, despite their massive budget cuts. Hopefully we see Paige again down the line in some other role in WWE. There was another small return teaser dropped by Alexa Bliss following WWE Raw this week. The main event of the night was a big title match in the women's division between Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan. Considering that the match was in the main event spot, there were a group of fans that were wondering if this could have been a good spot for the return of Alexa Bliss. Have her big return in the closing moment of Raw and go off air like that. But obviously that didn't happen. There was no return or interference from Alexa Bliss during that match. But Alexa did take to Twitter the following morning to post a 2-worded tweet that said, "Just wait," along with a gif of a woman standing still in the middle of the room while there's absolutely chaos happening all around her. So, not much was said in the actual tweet itself, but there could be some symbolism there. The "just wait" part of her message obviously being another way of her saying, "just wait until I return." Then the woman standing still in the gif could symbolize Alexa Bliss herself. Here is everything going on. Liv Morgan and Becky have all the attention. There's new women's tag team champions, all this stuff going on in the women's division. And it's like all the women in the division forgot Alexa even existed. So maybe that's what the gif signifies. You have all this stuff going on in the division right now, but just wait until Alexa Bliss is back. As far as Alexa's return goes itself, it's pretty weird and hard to predict. It's almost like the situation The Fiend was going through when he was coming back with his new hiatuses. How do you bring back a supernatural character the right way, and what do you do with them upon their return? The last time we saw Alexa Bliss, she was pinned cleanly and lost a world title match. So it doesn't really make sense for her to return instantly into the title picture. It especially does not make sense to make Alexa return into the title picture if there's no plans for her to win the title. If Alexa has this big return only to be pinned again by Becky cheating and holding the ropes, it does eliminate some of the hype off that return. That's why those rumors and theories of Alexa coming back and maybe bringing a tag team partner with her to fill that Lily role and have them enter the tag team division seems like a good possibility. If Alexa returns with an actual Fiend persona, that could be exciting. But at the same time, it could be very problematic knowing WWE's creative struggles with supernatural characters. They don't really know how to handle them. So that's the only downside to Alexa returning with an alter ego. But knowing what Alexa went through during her final appearance at Extreme Rules, it almost feels like we have to see a changed Alexa. She can't just pop up with another Lily doll and pick back up like nothing happened. Something drastic and big payoff has to take place as a big result of what we saw go down at Extreme Rules. This haunted doll was shredded to pieces. Consequences and repercussions have to be coming to the women's division from Alexa Bliss for what happened to Lily. It's the only logical answer for her story at this point. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.